never know. They're probably not. Lakers and Jazz back to the NBA. AD was big. He had to be because LeBron, foot injury, missing his first game of the year. The Jazz have been one of the bright spots in the NBA. Many thought they'd be a bottom third team. Jordan Clarkson got it. 42 in the first. The most allowed by the Lakers in a quarter this season. Then, and here comes AD. Had it going. In the paint, soft lefty, 19 points on 9 for 12 shooting. But despite that, the Lakers gave up 76 first-half points and were a hole. Fourth quarter, Colin Sexton, Lowry, Markkanen. He is really taking his game to another level. 23, 10 for 15. Talen Horton-Tucker from Kendrick Nunn. Back the other way. Jazz have numbers, and the final numbers. Wow, look at this. Another pathetic defensive performance from the Lakers.
Do you feel like Davis is actually on the table is my first question. And if he is he worth less than maybe people realize?
I think he should be on the table. Whether he is or not, I think that would largely be dependent on your second question. What's the return here? We saw Rudy Gobert go for 4 first-round draft picks, a swap, and then Walker Kessler, who was just drafted in the first round. So effectively 5 first-rounders and a swap. If that's the return.
And
Vanderbilt too, another young, high-quality player. So if that's the return for the Lakers, if they're willing to go a picks-based package with a little bit of talent in return, which clearly Utah's got, and they just keep winning again today against the Clippers, in that case, then maybe it does make some sense to reset around LeBron James, head into the offseason with potentially a bunch of cap space and more than just the 3 first-round draft picks. Because if they go into the summer as is, they'd have their 23, the swap from the Pelicans, 27 and 29 with the cap space to make some moves, some signings, and what's a, average, below average free agent class. That is probably not going to be enough for them even to get on par with the rest of the West. So that comes back to Davis, where, like, you're right, Bill. He's not the same guy we saw in the bubble, but I do think it's worth giving him credit for the defense he's played this year. He's still been a great defensive player, so they're still valuable for some other teams that
great
might want
or good.
I'd say great. He's had some great stretches. He had a moment.
Like, you think he's all defense? Great?
Potentially, yes. He had a moment against the Pelicans the other night where he switched on to CJ McCollum on the left wing, corralled him, and then he switched down back inside, blocked Jonas Valanciunas from behind. Then he sprinted up the floor for a transition lob dunk from Russ. So, I mean, like, he's defending CJ on one play, Jonas on the next play. He's playing at a high level on defense. It's just the offense has declined so much for him. Not shooting the ball well, as we know, and out of isolations. A question for you, Bill. Over the past 4 seasons, his 4 years with the Lakers, of the 50 players that have isolated the most, where do you think AD ranks in scoring efficiency of those 50 players?
The 50 players with the most isolations?
Yes.
I definitely think it's low because it's noticeable when you watch them that it's not a good play. So I would say he'd be in the bottom 20% would be my prediction.
48th out of 50 in isolation scoring efficiency according to Second Spectrum. Julius Randle's 49th and Russell Westbrook is 50th. That's over the last 4 seasons. On post-ups, Davis is 16th out of the top 25 in post-scoring efficiency. So out of these self-creation plays, ISOs, post-ups, he's not getting it done. And because they don't have a lot of spacing, they're not able to effectively run pick and roll. Everything he does comes off cuts when he can roll, floaters, at rim finishes off of cuts, offensive boards. So there's definitely logic to trading him. It's just a matter of what are your priorities if you're the Lakers? Are your intentions to trade him and then try to, recalibrate around LeBron James over the next 2 to 3 years? Are you willing to risk him saying, you know what, screw this, trade me? Are you willing to risk that this coming off season by trading Anthony Davis, his fellow
that's
clutch
a key
client?
Point. So next year will be like the last one where they have him under control with the contract, right? And if he's unhappy heading into the summer, that could happen. Go to this Cleveland game today and look at the actual numbers half by half. Do you know how many shots he took in the second half? This was a close game.
No, he only had 2 points. Two games in a row.
He was 1 for 2 field goals in the second half, and he took no field goal attempts in the fourth quarter. The reason this is interesting to me is they're playing Cleveland, who I think is going to be one of the tougher matchups in the league for him, right? Because they have Mobley and Allen. If they have size, and it's just going to be tough for him to create his own stuff. And the Lakers didn't even go to him. And I wonder, like, I've seen all the offensive stats and how kind of dangerous they are with him. I do think he's point guard dependent a little bit more than maybe we realized. Like you think back to that, like the best he looked in New Orleans, right? Was that one year with Rondo, and he was above the rim and just playing off Rondo in all these different ways. Who is he playing off now with this Lakers team? Even when during the bubble season, like Rondo was on that team. They had Caruso. They had guys who knew how to move the ball, throw him the right kind of pass. I just think this is the wrong team for him. And I think there's a lot of different things going on with this Lakers season. None of them are good. But this isn't a good team for him. Playing with Lonnie Walker and, whatever Westbrook minutes overlap with him, who is the guy in this team who's going to make him better? Is it supposed to be LeBron?
Dennis Schroeder,
I don't know if that's LeBron's role.
Is it Schroeder? Is that what they're reliant on here once he returns?
But Schroeder's another like shoot first point guard though, right? He's not like a distributor necessarily. It's a combo of Davis never seems like he's in the most incredible shape. I think that's been an issue the last couple of years all over the map.
Asked him to add weight too. I wonder if that's part of some of it. Like he just doesn't have you watched his old video of him with the Pelicans. He was so fluid. Yeah. People called him a wing or a guard with big size. So, I mean, he did have a lot of skill and fluidity then that's kind of been lost with all the weight he's added in order to play the 5 more often.
Right. And you think like 4 or 5 years ago, he wasn't like freak level. He wasn't like Giannis level, but definitely was in that unicorn. Oh my God, this guy in person is crazy. How athletic he is, and the long arms, all that stuff. Doesn't seem as special to me anymore athletically. And he's going to be 30 in March. He's got some miles. He's had a lot of injuries. The most interesting thing to me is I went through this exercise because you mentioned that Gobert trade. And I think you're the highest on Gobert probably. Although I don't know if you're starting to cool off on that a tiny bit. A little cool off? Tiny bit?
No,
okay.
not on Rudy, but I think the situation I've definitely cooled overall. The mix with Cat.
You don't like the Towns, Edwards, Gobert?
Anthony Edwards.
Trying to figure out like who would be like, oh, cool, Anthony Davis might be available. I think there's some real red flags now. I don't think this is a situation like it was in 2019 when it's like Davis is available. Oh my God, got to get Davis. Like throw in every.
The most in NBA history are in the same breath right now. The Orlando Magic, the Sacramento Kings, and the Los Angeles Lakers. This is an embarrassment for this franchise. What has been the key to success for LeBron James in the places he's won championships? Cleveland, Miami, a team surrounded by shooters, right? The personnel makeup of this team. This team doesn't have that. So I'm going to go ahead and say it, Stephen A. Either Rob Pelinka and company, they're going to blank or get off the pot. Blank or get off the pot. Either you trade the picks that you have, 2027, 2029, for the likes of Buddy Hield, maybe get a big, work another deal, try to insert some kind of energy before the trade line, or just go ahead and start clean. Trade LeBron James, trade Anthony Davis, trade Russell Westbrook. Now, you can think I'm crazy for saying trade all three, but you can't realistically look at me and say, okay, if we do trade LeBron James, we are going to bold well or believe in Anthony Davis to carry the torch for this team. I watched him get grazed last night by Nikola Jokic, and I got worried. I got concerned that I thought he was going to be out the entire game because of his back, the whole game. So I like LeBron James, one of the best to ever do it. Are you doing service to LeBron James if you're not willing to trade picks or make some kind of moves during the twilight years of his career? Wouldn't you rather see him go somewhere else where he's a legitimate shot to win? Mm-hmm. And Russ didn't even play last night. You can't even use that anymore. There's no excuse. Russ did not play. So the way this team is made up, like I said before, either trade all three, get assets in return, plan for the future, start young, recognize that you won the trade with AD. You got a championship. I don't think that's a long-term play there, considering his history and how many games he's played over the last couple of years. I just can't believe I'm at a point of actually saying on national TV, maybe you should think about trading all 3 of your star franchise players.
Do you remember, Jay?
You said trade LeBron. I remember it.
And everybody.
I remember it.
And everybody got on me.
Yes.
Remember that?
I do.
I went viral, and everybody's attacking me all over social media. It seems sacrilegious. How do I look right now? You know something? As I tried to explain to people, I wasn't saying trade LeBron James because it's LeBron James' fault. What I was saying was he's the only thing of value that you have. You're the Los Angeles Lakers. You're Jeannie Buss, who I adore, and all of us love Jeannie Buss, okay? Jeannie, you're gonna have to do this. The Lakers are just not good. They've got athletes. They can play some defense now. This is not about Darvin Ham. Plays are getting called. Dudes are open. They used to yell at Russell Westbrook, he with us. Now they say they with us. This is bad, man. Orlando is winless. This kid, Pablo Banchero, special. You got a future piece right there. You go to the turnstiles to watch that brother play. That young brother is something special.